Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. It is time for Taroscopes again. It's Taroscopes today for the sign of Pisces for the month of October 2023. That's Pisces Sun, Pisces Moon, and Pisces Rising. So before we get to the tarot reading, let's look at some astrology. And surprise, surprise, I have some visual aids today. Okay, how exciting is this? So we're looking at the month of October. October is quite the month. There is some big things happening, such as the eclipses are back. Woo-hoo. We're in eclipse season, October 2023. Remember April 2023? Well, we're kind of back in that energy. The nodes, however, are in different signs since April. They have moved into the North Node in Aries, the South Node in Libra. That occurred in July, I think it was July 17th. And then a few days later, they made 3 exact squares to Pluto. So since then, things have been moving and a grooving. And Pluto, square the nodes, is an evolutionary crossroads. So we're at an evolutionary crossroads. There's an evolutionary imperative. And the way that the Pluto squares the node says that we need to go back to the past, the South Node, and renegotiate relationships. So we've been in, since then, renegotiating relationships as well as evaluating abuses of power through the legal system. So that's more of a collective, although that could apply to you as well, easily enough. That's more of the collective energy of the situation for you. The North Node in Aries means that the North Node is in your second house of what you value. And in Aries, you must value self. Now, of course, Venus just came out of her retrograde motion. She was retrograde for 40 days in Leo. She is currently still in Leo as the month begins, and not quite out of her shadow. She comes out of her shadow on the 7th of October, and then the next day she moves into Virgo. And where is Virgo in your chart? Virgo is your house of relationship. So we're renegotiated some contracts. We have come to understand who we are on the inside, examining our heart. And now it's time for Venus to move into your house of relationship. And so this is an opportunity for both valuing the relationships that you have, and perhaps a new relationship is in the offing. Doesn't have to be, but whatever it is, you're relating in a new way, and you're relating in a way, hopefully, where you've come to love and appreciate self. Now, the sun, when it's in October, starts in Libra, of course, and then shifts into Scorpio. The sun in Libra is in your 8th house. Your 8th house is also a relationship house. And it's where we share our feelings. It's where we share our money. And it's where we share our bodily fluids, as it were. And so this is a pretty intense energy. Pisces is an energy that loves dissolution and merging and feeling and emotions and all of that. And so this isn't necessarily an uncomfortable place for you, but it is a place where you can get into a little trouble if you're not careful with your boundaries, because as Pisces have come to understand over their lifetimes, is that not everybody is so well-intentioned as you are. And sometimes we can fool ourselves to think that they are. The sun moving through the 8th house until the 23rd of October, when it goes into Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is a little bit easier for you in a way, because it is a sign that is trine yours. The sun will be in Scorpio. Mars will also be in Scorpio. In fact, Mars starts the month in Libra and relatively quickly moves into, well, not relatively quickly, moves into Scorpio on the 12th of October. So the beginning of the month, pretty much, it's in Libra. It's in that 8th house. you have to be fair and balanced through your actions here, but don't forget that fair and balanced means also being fair and balanced to yourself, which is something sometimes Pisces forgets. Often Pisces is a little bit too willing to sacrifice themselves for the good of everybody, right? And that's okay, if you're like the savior of the world, maybe, but most Pisces are just trying to navigate a really harsh world with a real sensitivity. So it's not a good idea to sacrifice yourself in that way. Once Mars moves into Scorpio, we get a little bit more spicy, perhaps, and pointed. Mars loves being in Scorpio. It was the original ruler of Scorpio, Mars, before Pluto was discovered. When Pluto came onto the scene, Mars had to share the share. So we have a co-ruler of the sign of Scorpio, Mars and Pluto. But Mars in Scorpio is a nice energy, I think, for you guys, because it gives you a little bit of there's a flow from Scorpio to Pisces, but also gives you a little bit of an edge, which is not a bad thing to have when you're a Pisces. Moving through the house of your beliefs, your ethics, your morals, long distance travel. This can be an opportunity to travel. But maybe you want to do a cruise. I don't know how you feel about that. It is hurricane season, so you have to be careful. It seems pretty active out there. But certainly long distance travel is stimulated at this time for you. The sun also will be in that house. That happens on the 23rd. And Mercury, which has spent a lot of time in your house of relationship in September, as it was retrograde, then direct in the sign of Virgo, starts the month in Virgo, but quickly moves into Libra, going into that 8th house again. And that happens on October 4th. When it moves into Libra, it spends about 18 days in Libra and then moves on to Scorpio, with Mercury and Scorpio in that 9th house. Mercury's moving pretty fast. It goes retrograde. It has all this time in one sign, and then it goes, then it starts to like fly through signs. So of all the planets, Mercury is moving through the most distance in your chart. And so we have relationship, 7th house, relationship, 8th house, and then relationship, but to the collective, to the more broader world in the 9th house. So it's still relational. There's still a lot of relational energy going on in your chart at this time. Now, Saturn, the planet of stop and the planet, the Lord of Karma, is in your sign, Pisces, and you know it well, don't you? Pisces, I wouldn't call it lackadaisical, but I would call it, maybe perhaps, a little slippery, a little maybe tends to be a little escapist. And before you say anything, my moon's in Pisces, so I'm allowed to say this because I know what Pisces feels like. Everything all at once, with Saturn there, it's asking us to put our feet on the ground, really. And so it's in the 1st house. So one of the things you have to really put your foot on the ground about is your own personal health and body. And Saturn is reminding us of that. It is going retrograde. It's actually starts the month at 1.5 degrees of Pisces and retrogrades all the way back to 0.5 degree of Pisces, and then goes back even a little bit further in November. And then on November 4th, I know we're not talking November yet, but then it starts to move forward. And then it starts to move forward and go through all those degrees that it had retrograded through, which was about 8 degrees. So it moved into Pisces in March, went 8 degrees, went retrograde, went all the way back to 0.5 degree, and then it'll go through 8 degrees. So the beginning, December, November, December, as we move into January, we'll be going over those degrees that were the degrees from like March, April, May, maybe June. I can't remember when Saturn went retrograde. But you have to take care of your physical body. Neptune, of course, is in your sign. It's been there since 2011. It still has another at least full year, maybe a little bit longer to go through Pisces before it moves into Aries. And there's a little like back and forth, but eventually it moves into Aries for good. and won't come back to Pisces for another 165 years. So, so this is an opportunity. In a way, Neptune in Pisces has made, in kind of a strange way, made real what Pisces is all about, the need for compassion and the understanding that we're all connected. Unfortunately, a lot of our connection, we're realizing we're connected through how one person's toxicity affects everybody, right? So it's really about like getting out of that sort of toxic brew. But you have to know first before you do it. In fact, Neptune, I'm trying to think, Neptune was discovered in the 1800s. So I'm not even sure we've had a full, we might have just had a full run. Nope, not yet. We still haven't had like a full cycle of Neptune yet. So the Neptune still has things to teach us, as it were. Okay, that's a little esoteric and off target, off subject. Of course, that's very Pisces, right? Tend to get off subject. All right, so Saturn retrograde, first house, take care of yourself. Jupiter, the other social planet, the planet of expansion, is in Taurus, in your third house. So it's moving backwards right now. It moves from 15 to 11 degrees. And that the third house is your siblings, it's your environment, it's like you outside your front door kind of thing. And so there's a rethinking about things, your relationships, how you think about them, what you believe about them, maybe a little bit of a reality check. Jupiter in Taurus does require us to look at things real, like the real stuff, right? Because it's Taurus, like what's really there. And so, but it's also an expansive principle. So it helps us to expand and maybe even become more aware of our surroundings in a way, because sometimes Pisces can be lost in their own little world and they forget that there's a world outside of the world that's going on in their head. And that Jupiter in Taurus helps. Jupiter was the original ruler of Pisces, and so it's very connected. And it's nice that it's in a nice, stable sign like Taurus. Again, it sort of goes in the direction of taking care of our physical body, as it were. Uranus is also there, and Uranus has been there for a number of years. Uranus spends about 7 years in a sign. It moved in 2018. It might have been 2017. It was right, the first time it moved in was right at the time when Trump fired Comey. So if you can remember that and where that was in your life when that happened, that's when Uranus moved into Taurus. And it's been rocking and rolling there. So there's been some surprises, maybe with your siblings and maybe with your general environment. Uranus and Taurus, earthquakes, storms, all that stuff. So you may have been affected by some of that, and hopefully you're okay with that. That's going to continue. It stays in Taurus for another year or two, I think. I don't know exactly when it moves out. I should check that. Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth and transformation in Capricorn since 2008, is still in Capricorn, but it is stationing direct. It's doing that on the 10th of October. It's your house, 11th house, your house of friends. It's your house of your networks and your connections. They're usually when the transpersonal planets, especially Pluto and actually Uranus, when they change direction, we usually see things happen in the outer world, pretty big things, pretty transformational things. You might have some transformations in your friendship. Now, it's been there since 2008. So every time it goes direct or goes retrograde, there's some sort of shock going on with that, perhaps. And so it's not something that you haven't seen before, but we're getting to the end of Capricorn. Capricorn moves out of, Pluto moves out of Capricorn in January. And then in the fall of 2024, September, to like a week after or a week and a half after the elections in the United States, it spends that amount of time in the last degree of Capricorn. It's not quite done with Capricorn. And then it moves into Aquarius for about 20 years. And we've already felt it in Aquarius. At that time, it moves into your 12th house, which sounds scary, Pluto in the 12th house. But Pisces is a 12th house sign. So, for all of us, we're gonna get, I think Pluto in Aquarius is going to show us where we undo ourselves and how we have to like not do that if we wish to like really thrive and survive. But that's another story for another day, I think. Let's see, Neptune, Aquarius, I did everything. Venus, I talked about Venus. Yep, I talked about that. The Sun, Mars, Mercury. I talked about everything except the eclipses. Or maybe I did in the beginning. Can you tell I have a Pisces moon? We have two eclipses. One is a new moon in Libra. That's in your third house. Maybe you have a new neighbor coming in. It is a pretty powerful eclipse. It's a south node eclipse, so there's something about letting go with this eclipse. And it's also, we have the sun and the moon and Mars. No, yes, and Mars. Yes. And Mercury all around that south node. And opposite that, we have north node in Aries, and Eris, the goddess of discord, is there. It's a very, very this full moon. New moon. Oh shit! Sorry, it's not in your. I should just read what I did this. I should read it, right? It's actually in your 8th house. That all that stuff is in the 8th house. It's the full moon that's in the 3rd house. And so the full moon in the 3rd house is also an eclipse. It's in Taurus. It brings the culmination of the time when the nodes were actually in Taurus and Scorpio. That was from January of 2022 to July of 2023. So something that was brewing at that time comes to its sort of like crescendo. Whoop. And it is in your house of mind. And so it's kind of an opening of the mind, but also an emotional expression. Although with the moon in Taurus, luckily, that is a little bit of a stabilizing factor, and the sun in Scorpio. So that's actually happening on the 28th. The new moon, which I first made a mistake and said where it was, the new moon is happening in your 8th house. That's your house of relationship, or a house of relationship. It is the Scorpio house, the natural house for Scorpio. So it's transformational. And as I said, all the energy that is in that particular nodal placement and the things around the node, we're looking at a big evolutionary change. Door is opening, a door is closing. And it is around your resources and your shared resources and what's important to you and what values you share with a partner. So change is coming, Pisces. All right. Pluto goes direct. I know I talked about Pluto. It goes direct on the 10th, in case you wanted to know. So the 10-10 portal, it should be an interesting reading. Okay. That's what we're going to say. I'm going to do now a card reading. I'm going to use my, oh dear. This happens with the Cancer reading. As soon as I touched the cards, they flew. So I have to go pick up what just flew out of my deck. Oh, 2 cards. What? I got the Hermit. What falls to the floor comes to the door, wisdom, and the 5 of Swords. A battle. Okay. Let's shuffle. Let's really shuffle. See what we got here. The wisdom to make it through the battle. Okay. Very diligently shuffle. I had a friend. When I think really hard, that happens. And I had a friend who used to come and rub my third eye. She said, you're going to get a crease there when you get old. She was right. I have a crease. I don't do Botox, so crease will remain. I think it's like a pensive crease. What is she thinking? Almost ready, guys. You know how I am about this shuffling thing. It's got to feel right. Otherwise, it doesn't work for this Pisces moon. I've had these cards forever. They don't even make these cards anymore, as far as I know. They were out of print. That's why they look so messed up, because you can't get them anymore. So a lot of readings with these cards. All right. So we have the 5 of Wands here in this deck. This is about leadership in this deck. This is how I read this card. Leadership, talking to the people, getting a plan down. This is what we're going to do, guys. I'm up on this rock. I have a broader and a higher perspective. This is what we need to do to accomplish what we've come to accomplish. So this pretty much shows that you're in a bit of a leadership position and that you're inspiring people through your knowledge. It's interesting that the Hermit card came up and then the Battle card came up. So this is like a battle plan. Let's see the challenge to that. Getting your ideas moving, getting your ideas on the road. So it's challenge. There's a challenge here. Let's see what the root is. What's at the root? Illumination, the sun. You've seen something and you want other people to see it. And so how do you communicate? How do you get the word out? How do you get the message across? Let's see what's in the past. You've had to be very careful about the way you've stepped forward in the past. It's had to be very sort of regimented and precise. There's a precision here. Not always a Pisces' greatest asset, really, precision, but you've applied yourself. And I think that's why you're in the leadership that you're in, because you've applied yourself. Let's see what's in the sky. The message will be received. The message will be received. People are hearing you. So if you're worried about that, do not worry. People are hearing you. The immediate future. There's some emotional issues that you're still struggling with. You haven't been able to quite get started, but you're starting to deal with some emotional issues. It's possible it's issues around father or the masculine. Okay, issues around the masculine. You're pondering. There's some emotional thing that you're pondering this month. Venus going into that 7th house. Perhaps you're thinking about a relationship or just somebody to share your feelings with. Even a therapist. I mean, this could be the card of a good therapist who sits and listens to what you have to say. So if you're thinking about therapy, this might be a good time to do it. You're in a leadership position. There's a lot of work. Something's been illuminated. You can't forget to take care of yourself, Pisces. Okay. How it's seen from the outside. Well, people like you. They like me. They really like me. Remember that, Sally Field? They like you. They see you as having not just wisdom to offer, but a real sense of understanding of their feelings. Their feelings. Your domestic situation. Okay. New ideas, new steps forward. I think there's a woman coming into your life. And she is wise. She actually may be somebody who helps you with getting the word out, getting maybe a media, somebody who can work with the media and you to get your word out, to get more people to see you in whatever venue that may be. There's a lot of really good ideas that are coming from you, and you may just need a little help. And it won't be you won't have to go far, because this is your domestic, this is the area of life where you spend a lot of time, your domestic situation. I like that. Hopes and fears. Am I going to be too busy to have fun? No. Well, that could be it. But this is also about abundance. So you are having some money issues, or if you're worried about money. Now, that may be you're having money issues, or maybe you're not and you're still worried about money. Let's see what else comes up. The outcome. Temperance. I love this card. This is the card of, it's not an easy card, I'll give you that. It's a card of spiritual initiation, but it's a card of balance. This is saying that you have to balance. You have to make sure that you're not overextending yourself in ways. So there's a spiritual path that you're on, but you also have to pay attention to your physical body. And of course, that is seen in Saturn being in your first house. All right, let's see what's underneath it all. All these wands, ideas, the Two of Swords. Okay, the Two of Swords, taking a step forward, but not being on the stablest of grounds, but you've had to take the step forward. So we have two twos here. The ideas are moving, the action is happening. And then this card, you're finding your tribe, everyone. You're finding the people who are going to walk the path with you. This is a very positive card and a very positive reading for you, Pisces. And I'm not just saying that because my moon's in Pisces. As somebody with a moon in Pisces, I'm like, oh. Honestly, for a long time, it's felt like you've been on your own, or that it's been, you've been the engine of everything that's had to move forward. And help is coming. Help. It's not going to be as difficult as it's been. Okay. I'm happy about that. All right. Awesome. Let's do a oracle pull. I'm using Collette Baron-Reid's Spirit Animal Oracle, and we'll see what animal comes up for you, Pisces. Could be a fish. Maybe it's not. That's a good reading for Pisces. I'm glad. I have a lot of Pisces in my life, and it's nice to know that they don't have to be alone. Been a hard slog. Okay. I'm going to shuffle these the other way. Hold on one second. I just don't feel like they're mixed up enough. Mixing it up. You know, the way forward is a way of compassion, a way and understanding that we are all in this together, and that we need to come together in compassion. What happens to the least of us happens to all of us. And I think we just have to stop all this shenanigans and really get down to the heart of the matter. That we're either going to go down together or we're going to go up together. And I know what my choice is. It's up, by the way. Turn your knowledge into wisdom, wolf spirit. Okay. I will read this to you from the book. It's a fabulous book, so might as well give you the skinny from the person who created the deck. This might be the last one in the thing here, turtle. Well, is it the? Oh no, it's not. There's one more after it. Looks like wombat. I have never gotten the one now. Yep. Okay. Wolf Spirit. I'll hold it up while I read it. It's a beautiful card, so I might as well enjoy the artwork. It says, Wolf Spirit leads you deep into the enchanted forest that holds secrets to your life. Can you sense her beckoning to you? Follow, asking you to take all you have learned and all you are learning and make it yours. Can you integrate it into your body, mind, and spirit? Whatever lessons you've learned along the way, do not leave them unexamined. Be loyal. Uh-oh. Okay. I couldn't turn it with one finger. Be loyal to your dreams, to your soul, to the turning and to turning knowledge into wisdom and experience into magic. You are the one you have been waiting for. Be still and know that the sound of your heart beats in harmony with the whole world. The appearance of wolf spirit is an auspicious omen that says you are truly in alignment with your destiny. Ooh, I'm getting chills. Ooh, I love it. All right, Pisces, looking good. All right. Have yourself a wonderful month. Looks like it's going to be a good one, Pisces. Um, like and subscribe if you would. If you give me the thumbs up, more people get to see me. You get to see me more. This isn't the only thing I do. I do in the news segments on current events. I do daily astrology. If you haven't walking through the garden, people seem to really like that. Me and the cat, as it were. If you would like a reading with me, I do those. I do astrology, Kabbalah, numerology combination readings. They're very unique and people really seem to like them and they find it very helpful. It's the kind of reading that changed my life. So once it changed my life, I'm like, I'm going to do this. And that's what I've been doing for 20 odd years now. I also have a Patreon page if you want to be a little bit more active in my support. Thank you to all my patrons on my Patreon page. They do get this stuff sooner. So like this will go on YouTube at the beginning of the month. Patreon will get it as soon as I'm done with it, which is about the middle of the month of September. And the more patrons I get, the more I can put stuff on just for patrons. So if you want to like really get into this with me, we can do that. I just need the sort of the commitment that you're willing to come and do that, and we can make it happen together. Otherwise, a thumbs up is good. All right, I'll see you next month. Have a wonderful month. Looks like it's going to be a good one. Take care of yourself if you take care of yourself. And namaste. Much love, everyone. I'll see you next month for November's Taroscopes.